Are you unknowingly eating three types of vegetables that seem healthy but are silently damaging your artery walls, raising your blood pressure, and increasing your risk of heart attack or stroke without even realizing it? Many people over 50 still believe that simply eating vegetables is enough to protect heart health, but the truth is more complex. Certain vegetables, when eaten the wrong way or consumed too frequently, can contain compounds that inflame the endothelium, disrupt circulation, and interfere with metabolic balance. So which vegetables are quietly putting your blood vessels at risk, and which ones actually protect your heart, lower blood pressure, clean out your arteries, and help prevent stroke after age 60? In this video, you'll get a clear guide on 3 vegetables to avoid, 3 to add to your diet, and how to combine them to support cardiovascular recovery through your daily meals. This is information that could not only help extend your life, but also reduce the risk of a sudden first heart attack. If you're over 50, or if someone close to you is dealing with heart issues, this video may help you take the right steps before it's too late. Why people over 50 need to adjust the way they eat vegetables to protect heart health and prevent stroke. After age 50, the cardiovascular system loses much of the elasticity and resilience it once had. Arterial walls begin to thicken, collagen levels in the vessels decline, endothelial function weakens, inflammation increases, and blood pressure becomes more unstable. This is a stage of life when the body becomes more sensitive to nutritional factors, especially compounds that may trigger vascular inflammation or disrupt insulin metabolism. Many people still believe that the more vegetables you eat, the better, but they often overlook the fact that not all vegetables are appropriate for older adults. Some vegetables are high in oxalates, solanine, or lectins, which, if eaten incorrectly or too frequently, can trigger adverse effects. These reactions may appear as bloating, joint pain, fatigue, insomnia, digestive issues, or more seriously, as increased endothelial inflammation and damage to the cells lining your arteries. When this damage accumulates, it can lead to plaque buildup, activate platelets, cause clot formation, and significantly raise the risk of arterial blockage that leads to stroke or heart attack. Older adults are also more likely to experience mild declines in kidney and liver function, which slows the elimination of oxalates or dietary toxins. As a result, eating large amounts of high oxalate vegetables like raw spinach or undercooked beets can increase the risk of kidney stone formation, blood pressure elevation, and electrolyte imbalances. Additionally, many people consume vegetables with the wrong types of fat, such as refined vegetable oils or over-fried preparations, which can degrade the vegetable's nutrients, destroy heart protective vitamins like K and B, and neutralize valuable antioxidants. Lastly, certain vegetables processed for longer shelf life may contain high levels of sodium or additives that can silently raise blood pressure and trigger vessel constriction. Adjusting how vegetables are selected, prepared, and consumed is essential for maintaining vascular health after 50. It's not just about quantity, it's about choosing the right types, preparing them properly, and avoiding harmful combinations that may quietly sabotage your heart and brain health. For these reasons, people over the age of 50 need a clear strategy to adjust which vegetables they include regularly in their daily diet. It's essential to choose vegetables that are naturally high in nitrates, vitamin K1, sulforaphane, soluble fiber, rich in potassium, and low in pro-inflammatory compounds. Just as important is cooking them the right way and pairing them with healthy fats to optimize nutrient absorption. By making small changes to a few commonly eaten vegetables, you can make a significant difference in reducing the risk of sudden heart attacks and strokes. Here are 3 vegetables that should be limited, along with the scientific reasons behind each one. The first vegetable that should be reconsidered in the diet of older adults is white potatoes. Although commonly served in meals as fries, mashed, or boiled, white potatoes have a very high glycemic index. When eaten, they are quickly broken down into glucose, causing a sharp rise in blood sugar and triggering the pancreas to release a large amount of insulin. If this happens frequently, it can lead to insulin resistance, elevated triglyceride levels, systemic inflammation, and damage to the endothelium, the inner lining of the arteries. Endothelial damage is one of the earliest steps in the formation of plaque and blood clots, which raises the risk of blocked arteries leading to heart attack or stroke.
In addition, many potato dishes are deep-fried or paired with high-sodium ingredients, further increasing the risk of high blood pressure in people over 50. The second vegetable is eggplant. Eggplant contains a naturally occurring compound called solanine. While low levels of solanine are not immediately toxic, in people who are sensitive or already have underlying conditions affecting joints, nerves, or digestion, it can worsen inflammation. Solanine may increase intestinal permeability, allowing inflammatory molecules to leak into the bloodstream, triggering the immune system and causing vascular inflammation. Some research also suggests that solanine can interfere with neurotransmission in older adults, particularly in those whose diets lack B vitamins or antioxidants. When inflammation spreads from the gut to the circulatory system, it weakens the vascular lining and makes it easier for harmful LDL cholesterol to penetrate and accumulate at damaged sites in the endothelium. This is a key mechanism behind plaque formation and blood clot development. The third vegetable, often mistaken as harmless but potentially capable of triggering chronic inflammation, is green bell pepper. This vegetable contains lectins, a group of proteins that can bind to the intestinal lining and interfere with the absorption of essential nutrients. In people with a weakened digestive system or mild gut inflammation, lectins may damage intestinal cells, increase gut permeability, and trigger prolonged immune responses. When lectins enter the bloodstream, they can activate inflammatory cytokines throughout the body, raising oxidative stress in small blood vessels. Many individuals over 60 experience symptoms such as bloating, digestive discomfort, or mild increases in blood pressure without realizing that frequent consumption of this vegetable, especially when undercooked, could be a contributing factor. Additionally, green bell peppers may interact with certain blood pressure medications and blood thinners if consumed in excess.
None of these three vegetables are immediately harmful to young and healthy individuals, but for those over 50 who already have age-related changes in metabolism, immune function, and endothelial health, unchecked consumption or improper preparation may place a significant burden on the heart and circulatory system. For this reason, it's important to limit their intake and replace them with vegetables that truly support heart and brain health. To understand why certain vegetables may silently increase the risk of heart attacks and strokes, it's important to look at the core pathological mechanisms behind these two serious conditions. Both heart attacks and strokes are caused by sudden blockages in the circulatory system. These blockages occur through a combination of blood vessel damage, plaque buildup, clotting abnormalities, and vascular spasms. Any factor that triggers chronic inflammation or damages endothelial cells in the blood vessels contributes to this dangerous sequence. When you eat vegetables that are high in glycemic index or contain inflammatory compounds like solanine and lectins, the body responds by increasing insulin, cortisol, and pro-inflammatory cytokines. This process extends beyond the digestive tract and affects the circulatory system. The endothelial cells lining your blood vessels are the first to suffer from free radicals, inflammatory molecules, and shifts in the vascular microenvironment. When the endothelium is compromised, it loses its ability to produce nitric oxide, a critical molecule that keeps blood vessels dilated and blood flowing smoothly. Without enough nitric oxide, the vessels constrict, blood pressure rises, and blood flow becomes turbulent, conditions that favor platelet adhesion. Endothelial damage also activates the immune system, which releases macrophages to target oxidized LDL cholesterol particles circulating in the blood. These macrophages engulf deoxidized LDL and turn into foam cells, forming the core of arterial plaque. Over time, these plaques harden, narrow the blood vessel, and restrict circulation. If the plaque ruptures, it triggers a clotting response that forms a large blood clot. If the clot blocks blood flow to the heart, a heart attack occurs. If it blocks blood flow to the brain, it causes an ischemic stroke. What makes this process even more concerning is that it often shows no obvious symptoms in the early stages. Many people consume inflammatory vegetables for years without noticing any warning signs, until they experience chest pain, dizziness, numbness on one side of the body, or a sudden stroke. That's why understanding how food, including vegetables, affects your body after age 50 is not optional, it's essential.
A vegetable-rich diet may seem heart-healthy, but choosing the wrong types or preparing them improperly can impose a metabolic burden similar to eating processed foods. So eating clean isn't just about avoiding sugar and salt. It also means identifying and eliminating hidden inflammatory triggers in vegetables that may seem harmless at first glance. Now, let's take a closer look at 3 vegetables you should add to your diet and the distinct cardiovascular, circulatory, and neurological benefits they can provide. Once you've reduced or eliminated the vegetables that silently trigger vascular inflammation and increase the risk of heart attacks or strokes, the next essential step is to introduce the right types of vegetables that actively support your blood vessels, regulate blood pressure, improve circulation, and enhance brain function. The 3 vegetables below don't just offer long-term benefits, they also intervene early in hidden disease pathways, helping you effectively prevent serious cardiovascular events after age 50.
The first vegetable is broccoli. Broccoli is rich in sulforaphane, a sulfur-containing compound known to activate the body's natural detoxification enzymes in the liver, reduce systemic inflammation, and neutralize free radicals in the bloodstream. Sulforaphane has also been shown to protect endothelial cells, the inner lining of your blood vessels, from oxidative damage, helping to preserve smooth blood flow and prevent plaque formation. In addition, broccoli provides vitamin C, vitamin K, and soluble fiber, all of which support blood sugar regulation, lower LDL cholesterol, and enhance overall vascular function. For best absorption of sulforaphane, lightly steam the broccoli and pair it with extra virgin olive oil rather than eating it raw. The second vegetable to include in your daily meals is spinach. Spinach is a powerful source of natural nitrates, folate, magnesium, and potassium. In the body, these nitrates are converted into nitric oxide, a molecule that relaxes blood vessels, lowers resistance in the arterial walls, and reduces blood pressure naturally. Nitrates from leafy greens have a positive impact on both central and microcirculation, which means they help improve blood flow to both the heart and the brain. In addition, folate in spinach helps lower homocysteine levels, a known risk factor for arterial plaque buildup. For older adults, this makes spinach an effective way to support cerebral circulation, reduce the risk of transient ischemic attacks, and improve memory. Spinach should be gently cooked, steamed, or lightly sautéed to reduce oxalate content, which can be excessive if eaten raw in large amounts. The third vegetable with clear cardiovascular benefits is carrots. Carrots are rich in beta-carotene, a precursor to vitamin A with strong antioxidant properties that help slow vascular aging and protect artery walls from damage caused by LDL cholesterol. In addition, the soluble fiber in carrots helps stabilize blood sugar, lower triglyceride levels, and prevent fat buildup along the arterial lining. Carrots also contain luteolin, a plant compound shown to calm inflammation in brain tissue and reduce the risk of microvascular dysfunction in older adults. Lightly cooking carrots with a healthy fat source such as olive oil enhances beta-carotene absorption and helps reduce the impact of naturally occurring sugars in the vegetable. When these 3 vegetables, broccoli, spinach, and carrots, are incorporated consistently into the diet and paired with monounsaturated fats from olive oil or avocado, they form a proactive defense against major cardiovascular risk factors. When prepared properly, they help restore endothelial function, regulate blood pressure, and improve cerebral blood flow. This creates a strong foundation for maintaining memory, balance, and overall health in individuals aged 50 and older. Understanding which vegetables to avoid and which to include is only the first step. To truly unlock their protective benefits for the heart and prevent stroke, the next critical factor is how they're prepared, combined, and portioned. Many people consume the right vegetables but prepare them incorrectly, pair them with pro-inflammatory foods, or overcook them, which destroys key nutrients and leads to the opposite effect. The following guidelines will help you turn heart-healthy vegetables into a natural defense system for your cardiovascular health. First, general preparation principles for heart-friendly vegetables. Avoid deep frying, especially with refined oils at high temperatures. Steam or lightly sauté vegetables over medium heat for no more than 5 minutes. Use extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil when healthy fats are needed. Limit added salt, especially refined table salt or high-sodium seasoning powders. Avoid cooking vegetables in aluminum cookware or worn-out non-stick pans, which may release harmful metals. Second, pair vegetables with the right foods to enhance nutrient absorption. Broccoli combined with olive oil improves sulforaphane absorption. Spinach should be eaten with foods rich in vitamin C like lemon, pineapple, or red bell peppers to enhance iron absorption and reduce the impact of oxalates. Cooked carrots paired with monounsaturated fats improve beta-carotene conversion to vitamin A far better than eating them raw. Third, control portion sizes and frequency. Do not eat the same vegetable every day. Rotate your choices to reduce the buildup of oxalates or unnecessary plant compounds. Each serving of cooked vegetables should be between 1 to 1.5 cups, approximately 75 to 100 grams, during main meals. Aim for at least 3 servings of heart-healthy vegetables per day, combined with 1 serving of antioxidant-rich fruit. Here is a sample one-day meal plan for adults over 50 aiming to support heart and brain health. Breakfast: boiled eggs with sliced steamed carrots, whole grain barley bread, and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Lunch: grilled chicken breast with spinach sautéed in garlic and avocado oil, a squeeze of fresh lemon, and a few avocado slices. Dinner: steamed salmon served with soft-cooked broccoli and carrots, brown rice or quinoa, and water or unsweetened ginger tea. Snack: a smoothie made from mixed berries and unsweetened plant-based milk or low-fat Greek yogurt topped with chia seeds. Eating with intention not only helps regulate blood pressure and blood lipids, but also maintains vascular elasticity, prevents plaque formation, improves cerebral circulation, and reduces the risk of transient ischemic attacks, often overlooked before a full-blown stroke. The key is, you don't need to overhaul everything overnight. Start by replacing one less ideal vegetable with a better option. Then, gradually increase variety and improve preparation methods. Within a few weeks, you may notice meaningful changes in your energy, sleep quality, and mental clarity. Here is the story of Mr. Daniel, a 63-year-old living in Oregon, whose experience clearly shows how adjusting vegetable choices can impact heart health. He didn't smoke, walked every morning for exercise, and followed what most would consider a healthy diet, rich in vegetables and low in red meat. However, during a routine checkup, his doctor found early signs of carotid artery plaque, mildly elevated blood lipids, and blood pressure that frequently hovered near the prehypertensive range. What surprised him was that despite eating plenty of vegetables, his cardiovascular markers continued to worsen. After receiving a more in-depth nutritional consultation, he discovered that he regularly added raw green bell peppers to his salads, ate fried potatoes 3 to 4 times a week, and often roasted eggplant with cheese. All 3, while commonly seen as harmless, contain compounds that can promote inflammation when eaten too frequently or prepared the wrong way. After adjusting his meals based on those insights, cutting back on fried potatoes, limiting eggplant and green bell peppers, and increasing steamed broccoli, lightly sautéed spinach, and boiled carrots, combined with extra virgin olive oil and avocado, he began to see measurable changes. Within just 8 weeks, his blood pressure became more stable, no longer spiking after meals. His LDL dropped by 15%, his triglycerides fell by nearly 20 points, and his CRP, a marker of inflammation in the blood, decreased significantly. More importantly, he slept better, woke up feeling clear-headed, and no longer experienced lightheadedness when standing up quickly. Reflecting on his journey, Mr. Daniel shared that instead of focusing solely on how many vegetables he ate each day, he learned to pay closer attention to the type of vegetables, how they were cooked, the oils used, and how often he repeated certain choices each week. I realized that it's the small details we tend to ignore that quietly build up and put our hearts at risk, he said. Mr. Daniel's story is a powerful reminder that having the right knowledge about food, especially vegetables, can make a significant difference in preventing heart attacks and strokes after age 60.
It's not about making extreme changes, but about making smarter, science-based adjustments. After age 50, every food choice is no longer just about taste. It becomes a decision that directly affects the strength of your blood vessels, blood flow pressure, and the risk of sudden heart attacks or strokes. Many people believe that simply eating more vegetables is enough to protect the heart. But in reality, it's the type of vegetable, how it's prepared, and what it's paired with that truly makes the difference. 3 commonly eaten vegetables can quietly trigger vascular inflammation, disrupt metabolism, and speed up plaque buildup. On the other hand, 3 specific vegetables, if used correctly, can help restore endothelial function, stabilize blood pressure, improve brain circulation, and significantly lower key cardiovascular risk markers. Starting today, you don't need to overhaul your entire diet. Simply removing the wrong vegetables, replacing them with heart-supportive ones, adjusting cooking methods, and using the right fats can put you in control of one of the biggest causes of early death in older adults. Remember, heart attacks and strokes often strike without warning, but if you know how to intervene at the level of your daily meals, you can stop them at the root. If you found this video helpful, share it with loved ones over 50. And don't forget to follow this channel for more science-backed, practical health alerts that are easy to apply. A small step today could save your heart tomorrow.